Johan, welcome to another Tiki by the Sea, Tiki Tuesday Talks. I guess we're going to, hold on. Wow, it's like I haven't done this before. We're super excited to welcome Ezra Starr in, as well as Kyle Zimmerman and Guillaume. Ezra, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Not too bad. You're in Brooklyn now.
I'm in Brooklyn.
Excellent.
For the time being.
For the time being. Working on visas to travel
Working
the world.
on visas, exactly.
Right on. How long you been in Brooklyn then?
I've been here about 2 months. I was in Minnesota and Boston and a few other places before that.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it. Kyle, you're
Hello.
at the bar in Connecticut. What's up over there?
Nothing working.
Tell me, I've heard from some reliable sources that Connecticut pizza actually might be better than New York pizza. What's your take?
So I'm from the Midwest, and I'm not a fan of Connecticut pizza.
Wow.
I'm very, very well hated here for that stance. But
Yeah, I can't imagine that's a popular opinion.
I don't care for it at all. So it's not my style.
Listen,
Wow.
we can't take Kyle's opinion about anything because he's a Oklahoma fan. So he has reputation in football. He also has reputation in pizza, obviously.
Yes. Terrible taste.
Excellent. Guillaume, what's going on?
Hi, how are you?
You got the symbol. Give us a little hit.
Well, great to see you guys. It's good to be with you for another session. And I'm still home. I haven't moved yet, and I hope I don't get too old before I can see my friends again. And by the way, I love pizza. I don't like pineapple on it. I do.
I'll agree on that. I hope.
And but I do love Stiggins with it though. Stiggins is very good.
Oh, there you go.
It's great. It's great to see all of you. It's great to see Ezra. Ezra is family for us, and it's good to see her. Can't wait to see her again. Around a cocktail somewhere in the world. In France. We never know. Okay.
Never know.
Can I just say a little thing about some rum news?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
It's a good week. It's a good week for plantation rum and Barbados rum and also West Indies rum distillery. We heard this week that our master distiller, Don Ben, I don't know if you've ever met him, he's a fantastic guy, was elected rum distiller of the year at Spirits Business in the UK.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big deal for us.
Congrats. That's
and
great.
He was recognized for all the work that he has been doing in the research and recovering of Barbados rum heritage. Don has been now distilling Barbados rum for well over 20 years, and he's been working at West Indies Rum Distillery since. So anyway, we're very proud of him. And since we're talking about rum, I thought we should say congratulations, Don Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats. I haven't done anything in my life for 20 years, and I don't know if I ever will.
I never got any award.
Yeah. Best trade-oriented Tiki podcast. Maybe I'm up for that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's still only, but that's cool. It doesn't matter.
Maybe you should make a rival and just that way you can build a category.
It's good. Get somebody really boring and dry with terrible guests.
Exactly.
There you go. I'll create my own award show for the subcategory.
No, Pete, you're a pioneer. You're the first, sir. You're the first.
Yeah, there you go. There must be a reason. Excellent. Thank you, Guillaume. Good to see you, man. Happy holidays to you and the crew, and congrats on that. Steva, what's going on?
How are you? It feels like winter around here finally.
Oh, did it hit 75?
Listen, it's like 45. So we're bearing through it right now.
All right.
We have championship football to keep us warm, Kyle.
Ooh, oh, wow.
I haven't got used to the cold.
Hard to say anything to anybody.
Good. So
Sorry, what was that?
I said I haven't got used to the cold in Connecticut from Oklahoma, and I'll never get used to Alabama being good.
Tough. Aaron, what's up? You're on the road delivering?
Yeah, I'm on the eastern shore of Maryland, so I have to talk in my country accent.
Secrets visit?
So, what's going on?
You go to Secrets, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm on my way. I'm about to be there in like 10 minutes. Real talk.
Great. Holidays and Secrets. All right.
Yes. It's 46 degrees here, but it's gonna be a balmy 85 once I'm done with that place. So
Yeah. All right. Excellent. We'll see you guys a little bit later. Okay.
There we go.
Let's get into the logistics here. So, hot tiki is the topic, plantation rum, as we've been discussing. Chat box and questions. Feel free to hit us up. If you guys are on Crowdcast, Facebook, or otherwise, please do share the event. Tip jar is Venmo Ezra-Starr. Presentation 30 to 40 minutes. Cocktail session for 10. And then we'll bring Kyle back for 5 questions. Little background on Ezra. Worked in restaurant and hospitality for years. Began studying biochemistry and public health in Boston, which led eventually, though, leaving the medical world in favor of the bar scene, landing at the infamous Drink in Boston, where she led the bar and roles as bartender and GM to many awards and accolades. It's very humble, which is an amazing program. Also consulted to develop bars in Boston and internationally, owner of 2 bottled beverage companies based in London. During her time at Drink, the bar won awards, including multiple appearances at the World's 50 Best, World's Best Bar in 2013 at Tales. In addition, Ezra herself has won and been nominated for many awards, including Star Chef's Rising Star, Food & Wine's Best New Mixologist 2015, American Bartender of the Year at Tales in 2017, 18, 19, 20 nominations, and inducted into the Dame Hall of Fame. So super stoked to have you with us and talk about yourself, your journey, tiki drinks in hot form, because it's really cold. And I was saying to somebody, I think the need for hot drinks has never been greater. This is the moment for hot.
For sure.
There ever has been one.
Yeah, especially with outdoor dining being as it is. You
Right.
go sit out at a bar and you're like, please warm me up. Because y'all can't afford heaters out here. Here in New York.
They're 5 times the price they used to.
Yeah,
be.
right?
Right
Should've gone
on.
into that industry at a certain point.
Yeah, fuck. Cool. Let's put your deck in here.
Yeah, let's just keep it simple.
Yeah, let's take it away.
Awesome. So I just want to talk about hot tiki. But first, a little bit about who I am. So I got into the bar world I've been bartending for a very long time, about 20 years now, I guess. And started out just needing to pay rent like a lot of people do. And then went to school. I was heading towards the medical world, worked in that world quite a bit, did a bunch of research. But all the time I was working as bartender, loved it. Realized
What were you working to do in medical universe before you?
I was studying to be a surgeon, and then I was also doing research on biomolecular structures and basically small molecule interactions. Nerdy sciencey stuff. You pour a bunch of liquid and it changes color. It doesn't change color, but it changes color in your head. Not as fun as pouring things in front of guests and having their faces change color when they love it or hate it. Yeah. So there's that. Started working over at Drink, started consulting with people, enjoyed the job way too much and decided not to leave. So happy ever since.
Right on.
Perfect. So I think a lot of people think about tiki and they think of this like crushed ice drinks, enjoying their time, escaping out, escaping out of the world, just going off to a tropical island. But
which nobody's doing right now.
Which nobody's doing. Well, some people are. And then they get COVID and come back and bring it to us. Thanks, guys. Wear a mask. Not that I'm judging anyone except the people doing that. I am judging you a lot. So yeah, it's kind of the classical thing, right? Tiki is this warm weather crushed ice drink. That's what makes it. People are like, "Where's my little Tiki guy mug?" And you're like, "You stole them all, so we don't have any more left." Don't steal mugs. Buy them. And then
what was your percentage of steal rate of vessels that were interesting at the bar?
Oh my God. So when Drink first opened, which was right before I was there, they bought nothing but vintage glassware and it was stolen almost immediately. In my time at Drink, 11 years, every single glass was stolen. If there was ever a glass I loved, I would steal it myself because I knew it would either be shattered or stolen. I had this great thing happen. I think it might have been about 6 years ago where this woman had this amazing tiki drink. I remember it was around Christmas actually. And she was drinking it and I look over and this is a vintage mug that we found and we wanted to share with people. She goes into the bathroom and it was a set. Like there were these two mugs that looked exactly alike and one was like the girl mug and one was the guy mug or the girl mug in drag, whichever one you want to decide. Anyway, she takes one into the bathroom and comes out, and I'm like, where the fuck's her mug? Sorry, where's her mug? And I look around, and my staff, one of my coworkers, is like, oh, yeah, I think she stole it. So I take the matching mug, and I go out in front of the bathroom and wait for her to come out of the restroom. And I say, hey, I know you really like that mug. I thought you might also want to have its match. And I offered her to steal it directly.
What did she do?
She goes, I didn't steal the mug. I was like, regardless, here, just take it. And she walks out the door, comes back in a few minutes later and says, I'm sorry, I just really liked it. And I was like, no, just keep them both. They're yours. They're gifts. Just have them.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. By the way, as an aside, what's up with Gertson lately?
I hear he moved, but I'm not going to say where to. He's hiding out, enjoying the world with his wonderful wife.
Got it.
That's the trick. You know, we all work behind a bar for a long time, get married and move to another place and don't tell anyone where we're going. Except for me, I'm going to Hong Kong.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Back to this whole thing. So it's a classic thing. What people don't realize is a lot of classic tiki drinks are actually hot drinks. Trader Vic has pages and pages of them, including a recipe for hot buttered rum. He's got a coffee grog on there. He's even sells his Tom and Jerry batter and buttered rum, which I didn't know. I guess this is back in the 70s. Maybe he still does. If anybody does, 400 Manhattan, please feel free to send it to Brooklyn.
But
maybe that's somewhere.
Before you leave.
Sorry?
Send it fast before you leave.
Oh, yeah. I think we got a month or two. We got a couple months.
Got it.
Anyway, so yeah, tiki drinks. There are many, many, many hot tiki drinks, obviously, because tiki is an escapist mentality. It's not about drinking a cold drink. It's about drinking a cold drink when it's hot out and being somewhere else. It's about drinking a hot drink when you're out and being somewhere else. It's about not being where you are. And I know for me personally right now, I'm all about the escapism. I spend a lot of time watching TV and a lot of time hanging out, drinking. So, something that transports you.
Sounds better than the amount of time that I spend on Zoom calls and conference calls and making PowerPoints.
Yeah, being unemployed sucks.
Right.
Except for that one fact. I get to enjoy. I have the most amount of time I've ever had. I learned German. It's really wonderful.
Wow.
It doesn't help me in Hong Kong.
It's maybe you could find like the German expat community in Hong Kong.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting really good with them, you know?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Crush some bratwurst, you know, drink a bunch of pilsners, you know?
Yeah.
Could be good.
I'll have to start liking more beer, but I'm into it.
All right.
All right. So kind of breaking down what a tiki drink is, which I think we all know this. It's about dilution, spirit strength, sugar content, fruits, and acidity, right? So that crushed ice serves a really important is really important in the drink. It adds water. It lets you enjoy the drink over time, and it kind of changes it. So I kind of wanted to think, how can I describe the best way to take a classic tiki drink and turn it into something that's warm? If you can't find I try to look for a bunch of the classic recipes, and I don't have any of my books here, so all my stuff is online. And the things that I found were not the ones I was looking for. So just decided, let's convert a classic into something that is warm and enjoyable, and that I might want to drink on the side of a street, avoiding cars in New York, which is one of my new favorite hobbies. So when it's hot, what we're going to think about is also dilution, spirit strength, sugar content, evaporation, perceived heat, and acidity. I'm one of those people that absolutely does not like hot citrus. I think it kind of takes away from drinks. It can be a little cloying. If you put a lot of it in, it tastes bad, I think. I'm very particular. Luckily, I've been paid to be particular, so that helps.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I mean, if I think back to a lot of the hot drinks that I have had, if they lean into citrus, it just gives you that kind of,
it's really cloying, and
right,
because the heat actually increases the perception of the acidity. I mean, like that hot is like making that stuff work more. And the other thing was perceived heat, which is the heat of the glass, the way that your body actually understands that you're drinking something warm affects you quite a bit. If you just drink something hot, it takes your brain a second to process the fact that it's hot. So keeping the mug warm and things of that nature.
Huh.
And the acidity thing is all about evaporation, right? So if you have a lot of high strength spirits in there, while that evaporation is happening, while the steam is coming up, you're going to just breathe in tons of alcohol, because obviously that's how alcohol is made. It evaporates faster than hot water. So keeping that stuff in mind, especially when it comes to dilution and sugar content. When we're making tiki drinks over crushed ice, we always want the sugar level to be higher, because it takes a little bit more to get past that water and to give that drink body. But if we were to drink that, sorry.
It's funny you also, now that I'm thinking about it, is thinking about that alcohol experience aromatically.
Yeah.
I should know that because I make spirits, but I actually hadn't put that together, right? Like that is the reason that it presents itself so strongly aromatically, is that heat issue and the evaporation component.
Exactly. Yeah, so when we're thinking about how to build out a warm cocktail, we're going to use a Mai Tai as an example, just because it's one of my favorite things to make hot. We think about increasing the dilution, because you're not dealing with crushed ice anymore. So if you take a classic recipe, you have to think, okay, well, this isn't going to be over crushed ice anymore. I need to add a little more water to it. So instead of thinking about adding a 1/4% of your total cocktails being water, you're now thinking like a little more than a quarter, almost half, as being water. And the reason for that is just half of what you would expect for a tiki cocktail, I would say. So a good 1/4 plus of water.
Because you're not getting the dilution out of the crushed ice, and also you're trying to combat the evaporation of the booze itself.
Exactly. And so then what we do is we want to bring the spirit strength down. I still like using high proof alcohol. Like we're going to use one of my favorites, OFTD. But instead of using equal parts OFTD and the Plantation Dark, increase the amount of Plantation Dark and use the OFTD to kind of give it a little subtle body and a little subtle strength. Just because when that evaporation is coming off, the first thing you're going to taste, if it's a lot of overproof alcohol, is just the alcohol. It's just going to hit you directly in the face, quite literally, from the evaporation. Then sugar content, obviously, drop that just a little bit when I make a hot drink. That I think is up for debate more than anything of these recommendations. But yeah, the sugar content, because you've got a little more water in there, you're going to want it to be a little higher in sugar, but you're going to want a little less sugar than what you would normally have in a tiki drink. Because that when you taste something that's cold, you always want it to be saltier and a little more sugary than what you would normally go for if you taste it not ice cold. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the opposite theory here.
Yeah.
It's going to accentuate it to a certain degree because of the heat.
Right. And if you ever have those hot toddies that are just ungodly sweet and you're just wondering why they're doing this to you, and did they hate you? Are they going to hurt you later?
You're checking out my boxes as to why I don't like a lot of the hot drinks that I've had, honestly.
Right, exactly. I honestly don't like a lot of hot drinks, and I'm so particular. But if it's made right, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
I had one the other day at Death & Company, and I was blown away. Like I think Shannon made it for me, and it was perfect. It was just perfect. It was Calvados and a few other ingredients, and I wanted a second one. It was also really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then evaporation, we can play with it then, right? So the more aromatic things you put into that drink, the more it's going to play off. You can, if you're using a gin, then you're going to get a ton of gin coming off. You're going to get that juniper because it's just evaporating out. All those essential oils, all that, those scents are coming and hitting you in the face immediately. So you don't have to worry quite as much about elaborately garnishing it like you would a regular tiki drink or you would a cocktail just generally, because it's evaporating and you've got aromatics instantly. Yeah, that perceived heat again and acidity. I know there are people that completely disagree with me about the acidity, and they're really wonderful for having their opinion.
Way to say it.
Yeah, you know. But when I'm using, when I'm thinking about acidity, what I'm using instead is going to be some like lime cordial or things like that. Things where you're taking that, you're making a sugar syrup out of the peels and using the aromatics much more than you are using the actual citrus itself.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of brings a bunch of amazing opportunities into place. The great thing that I love so much about hot tiki drinks is that you can just play off of it. Because you're using hot water, you can get rid of that, add tea, add coffee, makes it amazing. Maybe grog is the hot grog is a really great example where you're using the coffee grog, using coffee instead of using water. So that heat is coming from something, but you're adding so much more to it by using coffee, or adding black tea, which I absolutely love doing in cocktails. And then the other really, really fun thing about playing with this is when you're using cold drinks, you use egg white to give it body, you use egg white to give it texture, or egg yolk, whatever you want to use. But when you're using hot drinks, you suddenly have so much more to play with. You can play with pulled milk. You can play with actually making full-on batters, like a little bit of confectioner's sugar with egg white, egg yolk, whatever you want to do. I made a little fun sample later if we feel like playing with it, of a batter with OFTD and some coconut sugar that you can take a basic drink and just transform the texture and weight, because you're playing with something that isn't necessarily being knocked down by being chilled. When something is cold, you only have really one texture or two textures to play with. But when it's hot, you can play off of it. Like Zabaione is a great example. It's not always hot, but it's cold too. But when you're using it, you can add that fluffiness, you can add that body to a drink. Think of like a Tom and Jerry, things of that nature. So that's another great thing that you can think about as you're building out your tiki cocktails, for especially for the winter, for Christmas and the holidays or whatever holiday.
Yeah.
But I think that was it. I wasn't sure the structure of everything. So
yeah,
shall I just make one?
Yeah. Well, let's put up. Do you want me to put up the spec here?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm going to build two. What I'm going to do is I'll make the Mai Tai recipe that's going to be on there, but then I will also, I have this batter here and a couple other ingredients, and I'll take that same drink and show you how to play with it a little bit. If that works for you, timing wise. All right, so
let me show. Yeah, I have your stuff here now. Oh, you can see
perfect.
Us again.
Yeah, that's helpful for me too. Just kidding. First thing, really, really important, heat up your mug. So many people make cocktails, hot cocktails, and they'll just put it directly into a cold mug. And when you pour the heat in, you're losing that heat. So why are you even making it hot to begin with? So I got this nice little mug. It's nice and warm. I think I put a half ounce in there. I'm going to do it a little backwards than normal. So just go in with my cordials first, because it gets a little gooey. But might be better. So dry Curacao. I used a orgeat syrup. That's a liquor you can purchase. That's pretty great. Then I've got here some lime syrup. It's pretty dark. I like my syrups nice and dark. Just
and
a half ounce.
What's in your lime syrup there?
So what I did is I took the peels off of the lime, boiled that with some water. I added a little bit of the juice, but I boiled it off so you don't really get it. Let it come to room temperature, add equal parts sugar, and then strained it all out. So it gives it
And that's the objective of that is to kind of eliminate that
those
issue of the
aromatics.
acidity of yeah.
So you're gonna taste a lot of lime because most of what we taste is actually through scent, but you're not gonna have that muddled acidity you get when you heat up that citrus juice. So yeah, I love using that as kind of a secret ingredient whenever I make cocktails that are hot. And then a half ounce of this OFTD. Because I'm going to drink this, I went a little over a half an ounce. And then an ounce and a half of this original dark, which is one of my favorite rums of all time. Guillaume was just saying that every time it comes out, it's getting a little funkier and funkier, which I am here for.
Turn it up to 11.
Exactly. And then just gonna measuring out my hot water, but not necessarily. I put in, I think in the recipe I put 1 ounce, but it should really be ounce and a half. Yeah, it's more like 2 ounces.
And is that like how important is the exact amount of water to the end output?
You want to make sure there's enough water that it makes all the ingredients hot. If you're doing this for friends that are coming over to your house, throwing this on super low in a pan on a stove is really useful. That way you can just kind of pour it for friends.
Got it. So it's already made. You're just kind of keeping it warm for them.
Exactly, and then it makes your house smell really good. And they walk in and they're just like, "Ooh, perfect."
Pro tip. Nice.
Yeah. And then normally I do a little nutmeg, but this time I've got all these pecans, so why not just fucking grate some pecan on there?
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's the basic recipe. So let's play with it a little bit. We have time, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Chill. Great. So this is gonna be a fun little version of this. It's basically the same recipe. So half ounce of this orgeat syrup, which I'm only doing because I'm floating around. It's really good product, but I'm floating around quite a bit, so I want to make sure I can get things that I can reuse.
They were in LA, but did they move to New York?
I think they're based out of here somewhere. Yeah. They're great.
Yeah, they're great.
Just something easy. Yeah, so same recipe exactly, except instead of using hot water, I'm going to use black tea. So we've got our lime cordial. Shit, I shouldn't have used this. OFTD. Ounce and half of the plantation dark. And then instead of water, I've got this hot black tea.
Anyone in particular?
So this is a Japanese hojicha, which is one of my all-time favorites. It's this smoky green tea kind of a thing. It's
Where
so
does
good.
one get that if they were looking for it? Somebody who's watching.
I got it at a little Japanese tea shop here in New York, but it's not the hardest thing in the world to come by. If you go to any Japanese store, they usually have it. It's HOJI.
Got it.
I first had it when I was in Kyoto. It's awesome. And then I'm going to use this 2 ounce. I made this batter, so I just took an egg, separated it to the yolk and to the white, whipped them separately. In the yolk, I added an ounce of OFTD, and then a whole bunch of sugar, about equal parts to how much yolk I thought it was in there. So I would say 1.5 ounces per yolk, and then mix them together. So I'm just going to pour 2 ounces of this kind of batter into it. And like I said, because it's exactly the same recipe, you're just playing and changing two different things. Instead of using water, you're using the tea, which is the best thing about using hot drinks. And then adding this batter gives it body, gives it texture. And if you do it right, which it's been a little bit, about an hour since I made this, it's kind of fell down a little bit. You can get really, really cool flavors. You could add spices to the batter. You could add like cinnamon and sugar and stuff like that. Then you can play it up even further, and you're getting more and more depth into cocktail than you can with it just being a cold drink.
And you're just stirring that a little bit after you integrate everything.
Yeah, stirring it, kind of folding in. The batter is a little thick. This one has fallen a little bit because I was in a rush, but and you usually want to make more than one egg at a time. You want to make a couple of eggs, just so you get more body. But yeah, so then you got the exact same Mai Tai, but you're playing it up, and you can go all different ways just by changing out. Instead of using hot water, using tea, and then putting a little batter in it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So now, how about thinking about other kinds of tiki drinks and hodifying them, if you will? I just created that
for
word.
sure.
Sorry. How do you think about that? Like, where would you start in the process? Take another drink or take more of the theory. Like,
Zombie is a great one. You could, or like a Jet Pilot, I think would be absolutely amazing warm. Switching out the citruses to some citrus syrups, or make a spice syrup using those same exact things. You could even simplify it if you're a bartender out there trying to make drinks as fast as possible for your guests. You could take all of the citrus you would normally use in a Jet Pilot, like the lime and the grapefruit, peel those, make a syrup just for those, or an oleosaccharum, one of the two, or even kind of a combination. And then you have one less ingredient you're building into your cocktail, but you still have all the same flavors you normally would. And then just kind of cutting back the proportions just a little bit of the overproof and upping the proportions of the other parts.
Got it. So kind of like shave a half ounce.
Yeah, exactly.
Add it back in the other elements, kind of.
Yeah. So if you take if you're using 3/4, 151, just cut that back to a half ounce, or even a 1/4 ounce, and then put that extra back into the other rum that you're using, the more 40% rum.
Yeah. Have a question here. Can you repeat the exact recipe of the second version?
Yeah, so it's literally the exact same recipe that's on here, except for instead of using 1.5 ounces of hot water, I use 2 ounces of hojicha black tea, or it's a smoky black tea, essentially. It's a smoky green tea, but you could use Darjeeling or anything like that. Dark tea tends to work really well with rum. So if you're using lighter spirits, green tea tends to go a little better. If you're using dark spirits, like a dark molassesy rum, using a black tea is really wonderful. And then I did 2 ounces of this batter, which is literally just an egg separated, ounce of OFTD added to the yolk with 1.5 ounces of sugar, whip them both separately, then fold them back together.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how, in terms of people coming to the bar, and you guys are serving, and maybe talk a little bit about the drink model for a second, because I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Knows it. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, and talk a little bit about how somebody ends up with a hot drink, and then more specifically, a hot tiki drink in that format.
I can do that. Sure. So drink doesn't have a menu. It doesn't have a back bar either. So I trained my staff to be really conscious and really intelligent about each one of the spirits being used. They had to know what everything was, so that if a guest came in and said, "Hey, I would like a whatever name brand vodka," we knew exactly what the base of that name brand vodka was made out of, and we had something comparable. And it was always about, absolutely, whatever you want, we're happy to give you. This is what we have that is that. So we did that with pretty much everything in there. And when a guest would come in order, it was a conversation. It was, "Hi, how are you? What's going on? How are you doing?" And they'd say, "Hey, it's cold outside. I want something to really warm me up." And we're like, "Oh, you mean warm you up on the inside, like a strong spirit, or warm you up because it's frigid cold outside?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, warm me up because it's frigid cold." All right, great. So we would, that's how we'd get onto a hot drink. And if it's somebody who maybe has had a few drinks, you're like, something kind of like an old fashioned, which I always think of as hot toddy style. Or if they're like, I want something a little more interesting, more flavors that I can build off of, immediately start thinking more of, let's build them kind of a hot tiki drink. Let's take them on a little journey and have fun with them. I think a lot of bartenders get so nervous about making hot drinks, and they think, oh, hot toddy, what are the rest of the recipes? What else is there? Instead of thinking, oh, we have this great foundation of making cocktails like sugar, bitter, water, spirit. Just switch out some of those things and make it hot, which is what a hot toddy is, right? You're just getting rid of the water part and making it hot water. So play with that just like they do with everything else. And for me personally, instead of using citrus, just switch out the citrus for a citrus syrup. And then you can kind of end up with almost anything afterwards.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it. Opposed to like, hey, there's these like 4 to 5 classic hot drinks that I can think of. Actually just take it as a format, make the similar adjustments, just like you're thinking about a frozen drink, you're making adjustments to your point earlier. Like we have John Arroyo on all the time when it comes to Tiki and whatnot. And it's always kind of the opposite. It's like, hey, you need actually more of this and more of this because you're diluting the shit out of it.
Right.
And it's interesting to think about it. This is the other way, but to just say, hey, I like this drink. What would happen if I evolved it into this format? Is pretty provocative way to think about it.
And that's kind of a lot of what the way I've taught people to think at Drink was when you hear a person say something, try to understand what they're actually trying to say and grasp that so you can play around with it. Give them exactly what they're asking for, which is kind of my motto in life, except for when I don't want to.
I wish I had exactly what I was asking for on a frequent basis.
Or demand it until they give it to you.
Right. I am kind of demanding, I will say.
Yeah.
Not at the bar from my experience there. That's more of a macro statement. Tell us a little bit about, so thank you for that. Tell us a little bit more about like what your plans are. Where are you going? What are you going to be doing? I know a little vague, but.
No, they're not that vague, honestly. I got married to an incredible woman named Becca Lee Franks, who has a wonderful bar and lives out in Hong Kong. And we decided I'm going to go be with her. So sold everything I owned or got rid of a lot of it and reduced my entire life into about a closet worth and a couple of backpacks, and left Boston after 20 years and have been floating around waiting to get to Hong Kong.
Right on. I feel like I could probably write a book about the condensing all your stuff into two bags kind of vibe.
Yeah, there's a lot of books I could write based on everything I've been through. I have now seen so many parts of the country through this. I've seen, like being in Minnesota right after the whole Floyd thing, being in New York during all the protests, being in Boston while things are going on, relaunching Drink after we were closed, then being in New York kind of helping people with their to-go programs. It's been a really interesting, incredible experience to be, I'm kind of, in a lot of ways, very, very fortunate. I'm living off of unemployment and like kind of my savings, but at the same time, I'm seeing so many things about what's going on in the world at the same time. My partner being in Hong Kong, my friends being in Europe. I get kind of everybody at once in one place.
Yeah. And Hong Kong is open.
They just closed down starting tomorrow.
Oh, really? Got it.
Yeah, so later tonight they will be closed.
Got it.
Or the day after, I forget. They closed for different reasons. They have 15 cases and they shut down.
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like clamp it down, get rid of it, open back up. And over here.
And they've got their own stuff going on too politically, which is going to be really fun and interesting to be a part of. There's a lot of great people out there, and I'm super excited just to, go do some stuff before I eventually settle back down in New York. But go be somewhere else for a while.
Cool.
Or Paris, one of the two. New York and Paris always fight each other, as Guillaume knows.
In the green room over here. Very cool. Let's put your contact info up. Thank you so much. It was super rad. I'm gonna add Guillaume back actually.
Amazing.
I know he's got to go to a meeting. Hey Guillaume. Hi. You're muted.
Hi. Well, that's it. Now I want a warm drink because I want to feel warm inside.
Seriously. I've never. This is the most I've learned about warm drinks ever, I must say, for sure. Not that I'm any kind of expert.
No, but all of that to say, OFTD was really created for these kind of drinks.
Yeah.
Because it provides a spice.
It does. It really does.
A molasses spice to some kind of warm concoction that's based on molasses and fruits and any kind of essences that just work very well in a hot drink. And I'm glad that you chose that for that recipe, because that's exactly what we try to do. We actually had a lot of fun putting it together with a group of Tiki guys.
I feel a little bad today. I pulled this bottle out of my roommate's cupboard and I saw that it was signed, and I feel that I should probably not have opened it.
I think you know a guy who could get you another one, baby.
Yeah.
Sounds like your roommate has a few connections.
Oh, she does.
You should sign it yourself, Ezra.
I don't know if she'll want me to sign it.
Actually, question from the chat here: would bitters work in a hot cocktail? Thoughts on
Yes,
bitters?
for sure. Yeah.
All right.
They do
Any
work.
in particular, or just kind of they're all cool to accentuate depending on what you want to do?
They're all cool. Just keep in mind you probably want to reduce the amount you use just a little bit. It's not gonna. If you use a lot of bitters, the heat is gonna make that bitterness be enhanced.
Yeah.
And also the aromatics are going to definitely come through even more so. So if you're using a very aromatic bitter, you're going to get a lot of that in your face.
Got it. Awesome. Cool. Let me throw this back up. So contact info at Softest Bullet. Tip jar, Ezra Starr. If you can help, much appreciated. And we're going to bring you back to say goodbye. But thank you for joining us, Guillaume. Good to see you as always.
Good to see you again. I will see you again, virtually or virtually.
I might drive up there. I'll just come surprise you, knock on your door.
There you go. All right. Kyle, you've been patient. What's going on? You're still muted, though. Patient but muted.
There we go. Boomer Sooner. Can we hear that?
Oh, wow.
Can we hear that? Just want to make sure.
College football we've ever talked about.
Pete, can you mute him again? Can you just?
You don't like the truth, huh?
I mean, listen.
I don't really get to say a lot. I'm from the great state of New Jersey with the amazing legacy program of Rutgers football.
Nuts.
We had those 2 years where we were top 10 ranked. It was getting really exciting, and then the whole thing fell totally apart. Then we thought we could join the Big Ten, and that was a failed experiment.
That's
didn't
really
go well for you.
Yeah. Almost beat Michigan, though.
That's it.
I could beat Michigan, probably. Jeez. Anyway. 5 questions.
They're game questions. Let's go.
All right. Favorite meal in Wildwood that my dad did not make?
Oh boy, I think the snacks on the walk through the pier or the boardwalk were probably my favorite. I got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was towards the end of the week, and I needed all of the sugar and good stuff that was coming with that walk.
So much grease, so much ice cream. Yes, very good. Those gyros, man.
Yeah, they're incredible. As long as you can keep them down on all the rides, you're good.
There you go. All right. Favorite quote from Steve Casey?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, goodness. That's a tough one. Usually it's pretty, she's yelling at me. I don't know.
Derek yelling.
I don't know if I have an exact quote, but I mean, she, on the contrary of her, she's very supportive of me. I think she's told me I'm beautiful a couple times. I'm down with that one.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
nice. My internal beauty.
Very, very positive. Very
good positive reinforcement, but she's also good at reinforcing other things if she has to. I've had a couple talks with her.
That's good.
Yeah. I was not well liked when we were involved in the whole icing of David Allen thing.
The icing doesn't go over well.
It didn't go over too well. I just happened to be in the group, and I didn't even know it was going to happen, but I still got the talking to. So I'm, and I'm cool with that. Like, as long as everybody knows situation. There's nobody is ever left wondering.
Listen, I'm a good manager. Everybody gets the talking to.
100%. Even if you're not involved in it, it's wonderful.
Very democratic. Very democratic. Nice. All right. Weirdest thing you saw in Wildwood. Weirdest thing.
Oh. Nothing was really that weird. Everything was pretty controlled. I think for me, it was more of the cultural aspect of that being part of New Jersey. Like I always think of bless my heart, I'm from the Midwest, so I'm not familiar a lot with, the East Coast. I'm getting my taste now in Connecticut, but I think of, New Jersey, Long Island, New York as being big buildings and all that. The relaxed culture, I think, was the most surprising thing to me.
Yeah.
It was weird being that close to everything, but also like being so far removed and being almost in like a paradise type aspect of like slow rolling, kind of chill vibes, really, those kind of things.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Favorite Tiki by the Sea memory?
Man, there was a bunch. I would say probably for me was probably the class with Giuseppe and Nectali on sobriety and being able to hang out with them afterwards and being able to go with that. I thought that was a really important aspect of my session. It was not too far removed from some stuff that happened in our industry with one of our friends passing, and it was really a good thing for me to be a part of that. And I got to be there with another guy in my session who was really close with him. And I think just having that memory with all of that going on in that time, it was really critical for that to be talked about and, categorized as normal, and it's okay. And you can still be awesome. I mean, I'm talking about Giuseppe, not Nectali, but you can still be awesome if you're.
Listen,
Oh, wow. There you go. There you go. I will say some of the funniest text chains I've ever been on were with those dudes.
Oh man, it gets
chat, talking about doing the session, just like the places they took it. And then it was basically just, I'm just seeing Steva do this.
Yeah.
Looking at the phone like, literally all day.
You're brave enough if you just hit open when you see Nectali's name on your phone. Get involved in the group chat.
Yeah, that was something else. All right. Tell me what's going on in Connecticut and back home. What's
so right now it's cold in Connecticut. It's 30 degrees, which I'm not used to. Very windy. We are in phase 2, which means that everybody has to be out of the building by 10 p.m. And as of last week, we just put in place that you have to order food with every liquor purchase. So it's getting more and more difficult. And the complete opposite is going on in Oklahoma right now. They were in phase 2 with masks and 50% occupancy. And last week they came out and said that we don't have the police force to make that happen. So it's more of a suggestion than a mandate. And so that's why, not to get political, but that's one reason why I made the leap to come to Connecticut. I think that they're taking it a little bit more seriously. And it's, Oklahoma is skyrocketing with numbers. And it's kind of sad to see places that are doing things that probably we wouldn't suggest you do. But yeah, I will fight through the 30-degree weather and be here in Connecticut for a little while until we figure out the next.
Enjoy mass living. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going out on a limb to say we support wearing masks.
Right. No, 100%. Yeah, it's tough to see back home for them to literally just come out and say we don't have the police force to make this happen, so we're suggesting you do this. But it's also very difficult, now in Connecticut where I'm in a cigar bar with, we have 400 whiskeys and 300 different cigars. It's huge. It's massive, but we only have a panini press. So even at 50% capacity, we're at 42 people and, we're trying to figure out creative ways because at this point we have to make everybody at least order a panini when they walk in.
Yeah.
And it's tough, it's very tough. Yeah. So, but I think we're all getting through.
Panini maker though. You're a legend.
I have not got myself over there yet, but I have a feeling that at some point I'm going to be taking shifts doing that. So,
yeah. Take away the skill, man. Steva, what do you got?
Well, Kyle, just, thrilled to see you. 30 degrees is not cold in Connecticut, so I can't wait till it gets cold there.
Yeah, you got something coming.
They keep telling me I need to buy a winter coat, and I don't believe them, but it's getting worse.
I mean, I'm probably not wearing tennis shoes. I feel like you're probably just rolling around there in tennis shoes all the time.
I got the Nikes on, that's all.
Yeah, of course.
Good bar wear.
Yeah, you're just gonna take a tumble on that ice.
It's a skill to have ice, man. It's a skill. All right. Very good to see you. Let's bring these guys back. say goodbye. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Howdy. It's been real. Have a good holiday season. Make some hot tricks. Now we know how to do it right.
That's it.
I'm going to just sit there and critique people when I get like too much booze. Be like, yeah.
Welcome to my life.
What do you think on that? No, I never do that. But very useful. Good hanging out with you guys.
As well.
Same here. Right on.
See you guys.
We got an awesome session next week. Carl Franz Williams, who owns a couple spots, including one in Connecticut, as well as in New York, on pivoting your bar program, Lessons from a Survivor, because he literally opened Orange 67 in Manhattan in the midst of the crisis. And now here we are again. So really bright guy, really going to be a fun session. So hope to see you guys on that. And with that, I'll bid you guys adieu. Be safe, be healthy, enjoy paninis.
Thanks, y'all.
Much love.
Bye.
Yeah.